what's going on, guys? So today we're talking about the best-selling cards under $5 or less. Yu-Gi-Oh! Penny Stock Market Watch. Let's just jump right into it. It's kind of relatively the same. Obviously, there's some little intricate changes that we're going to talk about, right? Starting with Sky Striker Mobilized Linkage. So linkage is definitely no new card when it comes to the Penny Stock Market Watch. But the reason it's here is very interesting, right? So when the card was like here, it was almost a staple of the Penny Stock Market Watch because at this price, that's a really good, buy for a card as good as Sky Striker Linkage. Obviously, the ban list comes out, right? Sky Striker goes to the moon, and it's been slowly decreasing since then. I think the reason for that is Sky Striker just isn't as good as people thought it was going to be. Like, it is solid tier 2 strategy. It's no longer rogue, I would say, but it teeters the line. Like, it's not like one of the best tier 2 decks that might be a tier 1 deck, like a Sword Soul, but it's also not like a rogue strategy like Cyber Dragon or something to that effect. It's just, let's just keep it real. You got 2 engage, you got 3 multi-roll. It changed a good amount, but it didn't change everything with the strategy to the point to where it's back to where it was when it first came out. And I just think at the end of the day, it's not very good. It's been power crept. Like, it is good, it's just been power crept. So this is sort of a double-edged sword where you're excited about it because it's in the top 3 best-selling cards under $5 or less, so maybe you think it's a buy. But then you're also worried about it because the reason it's one of the top 5 best-selling strategies or best-selling cards under $5 or less is because the deck isn't just not as good as people thought it was going to be. I would say if you can get it for 4, I would pick it up. If it's between 4 and 5, I would definitely strongly consider it. Even 4 to 6, actually. But if it's above 6, I would stay away because I think the card is just going to start going back down to that $2 to $3 mark eventually. Just because I don't think the strategy is that very solid. It's great. It is good, but it's not as good as people, I think, thought it was going to be, myself included. Like, I thought it was going to be one of the best decks of the game, and it's not right now. So it's a tricky thing. Let's talk evenly matched. But not just this copy, all versions of evenly matched. So the first thing I look at is price. When it's talking about like evenly matched, like what's the most expensive one right now? It is the original version, which is normally the case, which is also the highest rarity version, which is a secret rare from Circuit Break. The Megatin version is also a secret rare. The dual power version, the Magnificent Mason version, and the Ghost from the Past version are all ultra rares. And so once we get past like the most expensive, I start to look at rarities, like I was just doing, and then I look at the listings, like how many listings are left. And right now, the lowest amount of listings, obviously outside of the two $15 ones, is the Ghost from the Past version. Right now, when we look at the Ghost from the Past version, it's not really a penny stock, so there's not really much to talk about there. But when we look at the super rare from the Beware of the Trap Tricks, this is the cheapest version, and it's one listing off away. Like, literally, if someone buys these 3, it will no longer be a penny stock, and it will be the lowest amount listed on TCG Player other than the $15 ones. Now, obviously, you have to take it with a bit of a grain of salt, right? Because when we look at these, these listings have like 2 or 3 copies available, 1 or 2 copies available, different things like that, right? But when we look at the Beware of the Trap Tricks Structure Deck one, you have 30 copies available, 63 copies available, 46, 562 copies available from Gamer's Choice, right? So even if there are less listings, you do want to make sure you're double checking something like that to make sure and see, like, okay, there are only 50 listings, but everybody's got like 30 or 40 or stuff like that. But once you get past Gamer's Choice, it does seem like it starts to slow down as far as the amount of that are available. So once those Gamer Choices are off the market, it's possible that go value, which or go up in value, excuse me, which does kind of essentially mean like. I don't love this. You guys can let me know in the comments down below how you feel about this. This is just the way that this is more of an economic issue. It's not really nothing to do. Like Yu-Gi-Oh has the issue because it's it's got its own market watch as well. But like essentially, Gamer's Choice, which is now on page 2. I thought it was page 1, but essentially Gamer's Choice, because they have so many of these cards on the market, are controlling the market. And so right now it's okay. I think it's on page 2. If we go to page 2, they're at 562 and 499, so that's cool. But if they decide to make it $10, this card can jump up in price. So I would, to make a short story long, I would be on the lookout for evenly matched from the structure deck. Another big thing to look at when you're looking at whether or not a card is a good buy is the set that it's from, and goes from the past, especially Magnificent Mavens, even Dual Power. They did get a Circuit Break as well. Circuit Break's a really good set. They got opened a lot, whereas the structure deck, and like Megatons always get opened a lot, but the structure deck, while it did get opened a lot, eventually that structure deck's gonna be out of circulation, right? And I've talked about this structure deck on multiple occasions. I don't want to dive too deep into it again. I do want to say it's an archetype that has gotten a lot of support over the years. Ash is in this. If I don't go too far down, Ash is in this. Harpies, right? Geki is in this. Like this right here, if you're able to get this set for like $12-13, like this could be worth $5. This is already worth $5. That's 10. These are worth dollars. That's 12. So these 4 cards get you the value. There's also Mech Knights, Kaijus, artifacts, the hands for hat format, and like I said, a really cool archetype in Trap Tricks. So I think that the structure deck is still a fantastic buy, and it's one of the better structure decks that we've gotten in a while. And we've gotten a lot of pretty good structure decks, but I would definitely do your best to pick up these copies if you haven't already of Evenly Matched. Next, let's take a look at this specific Kaiju. I think we've looked at this Kaiju a little bit before. It is a dinosaur. This is the highest rarity. And honestly, I kind of want to take a look at this set. Not really in particular this set, but more of the secret rares, the 12 secrets. Kind of see where they're sitting. And if there are enough that are above $5, we'll look at this again on Friday. There are not. Okay. I think there were others. There's supposed to be other secret rares, though. I don't know what happens to the other secret rares, so we'll actually get rid of that. I thought, like, Super Poly was in this. I know, like, Allure of Darkness is another secret rare because I pulled that. So, I'm not... Oh, this is from the other one. That's right. Okay, because Doggeran was printed... As I do this here at the last second. Doggeran, I could have swore was printed as a... Okay, so actually, no, it's just a secret from this one. That's interesting. Okay. So it's just a secret rare from this one. Well, I guess we can still take a look at the secret rares then. Yeah, Hero Lives is the only one to really look at. That's interesting. Okay, because I could have swore... Doggeran got reprinted in the most recent Speed Duel box as a secret rare. But I could be confusing it with a different Kaiju. I'm not sure. Anyway, point that I'm trying to make is this. So this is the common version. We don't want the common version. We want the secret rare version. That I think we were just at. Yes, there it is. So as far as Doggeran is concerned, I don't know if I'm saying it right. I think I'm saying it right. It's always, this card has always been the third best selling Kaiju. It has been dependent on the existence of Stormwinds, because when Stormwinds is popular, Mystery Dust takes that third spot. We have seen Raiden jump in as well. I've talked about kaijus, I feel like relatively recently though on the market, so I don't want to deep dive too deep into the kaijus. Just kind of saying like Doggoran as a kaiju has been popular. Not as popular as the Gamma Seals and Sticky Strings, because its attack is too high, but relatively as popular as like the Raid and the Mystery Dust, right? So, but all the kaijus have their own playability as well. But this is insane. Gamer's Choice again. Gamer's Choice again is controlling the market on this as well. Oh my goodness. Wait, is this real? Okay, so we have Top Card Shop has 72 at about $10. I mean, there's really I think there are more Doggorans owned by Gamer's Choice than the rest of the market. Might even be double the rest of the market. Might even be triple. Because on this page, there's probably like 30 or 40, because there's only 10 listings a page. There's probably like 20. And then on this page, there's probably like 30. So that's like maybe 50. And then there's obviously the 70 here. So that's 120. Yeah, so there's like, that's crazy. So I will say this is going to be a big number. So brace yourself for that. And this is a pretty popular kaiju. So there is some merit to doing this sort of thing. But if you spend $6,683.40, essentially $6,700, probably, $6,700. If you spent $6,700 on this, because you do qualify for free shipping, you could control the market on this card. And you might take a step back and go, well, that's not worth it. But think to yourself, you take out these 1,400 from the market, right? And I don't even know if I've never bought $1,000 worth of cards on TCG Player, so I don't know if there are, hoops they have to go through. I do know over $50 they have to put a shipping label on it. But I don't know what a package would look like with 1,400 copies of a card. But anyway, 1,400 copies, $6,700. You take out 80% of the market. You can come back, turn it around, and say, now this card costs $10. This version of this card costs $10, and you might sit back and go, well, that'll never work, Hot Dog Flexer. There's no way. The next highest amount of cards on a listing is here at 72 listings, and they're selling it at actually like $11, a little under $11. So, 1,400, right, at $10, you move the decimal point over 1, that's 14,000. So you spent 6,700 and you got $14,000. And you might think there's just no way I could make almost double your money on a $7,000. And there's no way I could turn $7,000 into $14,000 selling Yu-Gi-Oh cards, specifically with Doggoran, the Mad Flame Kaiju. But where there's a will and there's a way, and that's why I was talking about this card's value before we started talking about whether or not this card, we should be taking a look at it, because at the end of the day, right now, one person is controlling the market. And so what you could do, this is what I would do if I were to do that, because I'm not going to do that, just to keep it real, right? And now I do want to mention this. There's an OTS version that's kind of competing with this, but this is almost bought out too. Like, we're kind of in the midst of a buyout here, where this is nearing $10. What I would do if I were to do that, right? Let's say, someone was like, okay, I'm going to give you $7,000, buy all copies of those cards, and I get 10% profit or whatever. Or just give me my, it's like the Shark Tank deal, where they gave me $7,000 and I can sell all the cards until I can give them the $7,000 back, and then whatever I get after that is my own, right? That type of thing, or maybe until they get 8,000, so they can make 1,000, whatever, something like that, right? We're living in a fantasy land right now. If that were the case, I would put it at like $10 or $11. Wait for the market to adjust to me doing that, and then go underneath the market, right? So then I bought them all at about $5. Cost about 6,700. I made it 10, right? Moved it up to about $8 or $9. Come back underneath it at 7. Sell all 1,400 of those at about 750, and make $1.50 profit on 1,400 cards. Lunch is on you at that point. That's a lot. You're spending basically the price of a used car on one Yu-Gi-Oh card. But just because Gamer's Choice has so many cards, you could very easily buy this out. Just something to keep in mind, because dinosaurs are in a very interesting spot. And if miscellaneous Herosaurus, here's the biggest thing that I'll say, and then we'll get back to the market watch, or the rest of the market watch. Miscellaneous, like let's say you try that, what I just said. You do you buy a bunch, you kind of flip for these, make $4 profit on that card, and you're in the midst of selling, right? You have it for $10, and you're having a tough time selling them. Eventually, I'll get back to it. Miscellaneous goes back to 3. This card goes to the moon, and that version of the card specifically goes to the moon. So just something to keep in mind. As we sort of move forward here in the Yu-Gi-Oh market watch, a lot of people, a lot of copies of this card are owned by one person, and that's makes the market very murky when that sort of thing is happening. Let's take a look at this card. I don't know if we've talked about Goddess Bow before, because there are so many printings of Goddess Bow. It's not really like that exciting. It's been very steady. But as far as the Goddess Bow is concerned, there's another version actually of Appaloosa as well. When we take a look at Appaloosa real quick. It's 2-piece. It's not 2-piece. The alternate art from Mago is not a penny. Is it a penny stock? It is a penny stock. Okay. I think it probably just happened because the alternate art just got reprinted. Yes. Yes. How many listings does it say? I really like this version. This is the version that I have. 84 listings. But you guys know, if you follow this channel long enough, like I really like the gold rares. I like the way it looks. But it's weird because alternate art, depending on how they look, like I do think the original art looks better, right? If the alternate art looks, usually the best art wins. Like whatever art looks better is the one that most people will get. Usually they'll lean towards the original art, right? But I also think that art just looks better. But this doesn't look terrible. And the thing is, supply and demand. These are 30. These are no longer penny stocks. The other one is slightly under $5. This one is also slightly under $5, and it's not going to be under $5 for much longer, right? I mean, this version's almost 5. This version's almost 5. Every other version's over 5. So really, it's actually, that's not even the cheapest version of Appaloosa. The cheapest version of, I keep doing that. The cheapest version of Appaloosa is the alternate art from Maximum Gold. And this card is also very close to over $5. So I like Appaloosa. Appaloosa is a staple. Unless Konami prints a card that's exactly like Appaloosa, it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon, right? And obviously Konami does do stuff like that very often. When we take a look at just like Borreload, Boral Sword, Access Code, right? We take a look at that evolution, right? And you kind of like wonder, will that happen to Appaloosa? Like, will we get a card that says the exact same effect of Appaloosa, except for maybe it gains a little bit less attack per counter and it can negate anything, right? Like, instead of saying what Appaloosa says, it says you can only control one of this card. This card's attack becomes 400 times the number of link materials used for its summon. Once per chain, when your opponent activates any effect, you can make this card lose 400 attack, and if you do, negate the activation, right? So it could be another link 4. Maybe it has 3+ monsters, except tokens. So it's like essentially a nerfed version of Appaloosa that can negate anything. That would probably power creep Appaloosa, right? So I don't know, but the card's been out for a very long time, and it still hasn't gotten hit, or not. Well, yeah, it hasn't gotten hit, and it also hasn't really gotten reprinted. So I think it's pretty cool. I would look into it, especially the gold rare version, because I like the way it looks. Final card I want to talk about, Kashtira Unicorn. Kashtira just in general. I don't know why this card is so low. I think people are just tired of playing Kashtira. I don't know. Kashtira is still really, really good. I'm pretty sure Labyrinth ended up winning Nationals to something to that effect. I'm not sure. I'm going to take a look at Nationals later in this week. But Kashtira is the best deck still. Like, I don't, that's cool that it won, but, Kashtira is still the best deck. And I do think Konami's going to hit it with the Banhammer pretty hard. This card could very well be the card that gets hit, too, with the Banhammer. But that could very well mean if it gets banned, it won't get reprinted in the Megatins. And if this doesn't get reprinted in the Megatins, it could be one of those cards that's in the ban, that's banned, that keeps its price, right? We saw Construct do that. Masterpiece has done that. Max C, right? But let me know what you guys think. What are the best-selling cards under $5 list that you guys are looking into? Let me know in those comments down below. Make sure you guys click that like button to show your support for the channel. Subscribe for even more content. But most importantly of all, have a good day.